Hey everybody, it's Jill Hoyrup from Jillicious Healing, and I'm in the Ignite Your Intuition group live, coming at you live. And just give everybody a few minutes to come on. Today we're going to talk about intuition. Yay! So we've already had a lot of interaction in the group about intuition and guides and guardian angels. So today I wanted to give a brief overview of the gist about intuition and what you can use it for and kind of how it works or how I've experienced it working and whatnot. So do we have anybody live yet? Let me know if you're here. Angela! Welcome, welcome. I'm glad that you got to be on today. How are you doing? In your cold Alabama. I'm chilly today. Look at me wearing long sleeves in Belize. Hi, Kimberly. Welcome. Happy to have you. How do I sound? I forgot to ask that earlier. Am I sounding okay? I have been staticky before. I'm really trying to avoid using headphones and my phone. So let me know if you would how it sounds. So today will be more of an informational and a little bit of a conversation with you guys about intuition. And we'll get into some practice in the upcoming lives. And Kimberly's telling me that the sound is fine. Good. Sometimes the Belize internet is not the best, hence staticky sound. And I couldn't go on live the other way I was going to through my live, so I'll have to figure out what's going on with that. But hey, Cynthia. I wonder if it's your connection too, Cynthia, because you seem to always have a problem hearing me when I'm on my laptop like this. So it could be both of us. It could be both of us not working out. Let me know if it gets worse. Okay, I'm gonna keep on it because I'm on right now. And I want to start on time though, so if anybody comes later, they can just hop in. So everybody's been in the group for a little while, and if you know me, you've known me for a while, which I know a couple of you have, that you are always probably getting prompted to ask your intuition and whatnot. So intuition is such an individual thing. And what I've learned, I'm going to kind of go over some things and kind of tie it into how I've learned about it. I think anybody that you run across will teach intuition a different way because everybody's experienced it differently, potentially. So the things I want to just discover here today with you are about, figuring out the way that you are intuitive and focusing on how you can practice and grow that intuition. Intuition is like a muscle, and you want to practice in order to get better and better and better, right? So, hi, Aga. I'm glad you're here. Okay, so I'll just start. Intuition, like as everybody's heard, the gut feeling, the mother's intuition, this feeling of knowing or feeling or hearing something or seeing. A lot of people will see things and they don't know what they're seeing yet. They might think it's weird because they could see energy grids, they could see auras, they could see vibrant patterns of things, or just anything really, and everybody will be so different. So it's this kind of unexplained feeling or knowing, right? You know you're seeing something, but part of the trick of intuition is discovering within yourself what that is meaning for you and to you. So part of intuition is creating symbols and definitions and awareness about what each thing could mean. And again, this comes from practicing your intuition and asking within, asking your guides, what is this referring to? So let me know in the comments how everybody is feeling with their intuition, and what, like, are you working with it? Are you figuring out kind of when it happens or what you're feeling, what you're getting? So I'm using the definition words, right? For clear, it's clear hearing, clear seeing, clear knowing. They're all your clairs. Clairsentience, claircognizance, clairaudience, clairvoyance, okay? So, and we'll get more into those in the next lives over the next few weeks. So back to what I was saying earlier, everybody's intuition is different. Everybody's intuition comes in differently. Everybody has different levels and degrees and gifts of their intuition, right? So for me, for example, I am pretty well-rounded in all of them. I don't know how normal that is, but that's how it is for me. I'm probably less with clairaudience. And if you're clairempathic, which means you feel other people's feelings, that really ties in with clairsentience. So when you're feeling other people. So the trick with clairempathy is to figure out if it's yours or not, and then figure out what it's trying to tell you. Okay, Cynthia says, I have doubts sometimes, and I like to speak to someone else then to either validate what I know or feel, or be given a different way of looking at something. Perfect. That is actually how I started. So since I've been into all this for about 15 years and really like igniting my intuition from 06 to 09, I worked with a mentor and we practiced this all the time. And she was teaching me kind of one-on-one about intuition and how to tune into it for me. So, but I can look back to my childhood and I was very empathic. And then of course I had my clairsentience, which I didn't know about then, my clear feeling, because I'm just a kid. I'm like 3 and 4 and 5 years old. So I'm not being supported in growing my intuition because my parents didn't know what it was, because they're not like that. And so I missed out, right? So I wasn't able, I was in my head my whole life until my 30s, till I got into my like spiritual awakening in my early 30s, 47 now. So that is one great way, Cynthia, to practice your intuition. And I will still ask my mentor, I'm getting this, what do you get? And so it's a huge way to, one, practice with someone that you trust and someone that you feel is a higher level of psychic or intuitive than you are. And there were times though when I would get something different. And usually I would kind of bow down to what my mentor got. But what's interesting is as I've grown my own intuition, there are times when I just know that I know. And it doesn't matter what reality is. It doesn't matter what the person talking to me about it says and doesn't resonate with them. I know that it's my intuition and that it's true. So there's that piece of it too. With intuition comes huge trust, right? You're trusting what you're getting. You're trusting whatever it is that you're getting. Now, with intuition, you may not always be able to even confirm it and get an answer, yes or no, if it was right or wrong, right? Which reminds me, I'll teach you a little trick. I'm taking my notes. Okay, Aga says, asking guides to help with intuition, I feel for me is challenging since there's more than one. Who do I listen to? Hi, Susan, welcome, welcome. We're just kind of doing a brief overview of intuition right now, and I'm kind of giving you a little background on me and my intuition and a few little tips or tricks. So Aga, that's a good question. So guides, I feel intuition and guides are separate. I do feel like they can give you the same information, and they can, I mean, the whole goal of both is to help you on your path, right? And help you get that information that you need in order to make decisions in your highest and best interest, right? So what I would suggest, Aga, is pick one. If you can differentiate between which one, well, there's two ways you can go about it. One is you can start, when you tune into your guides, you can start feeling what they each feel like, right? And I don't remember what, I think I gave you an answer about who your guides were and all that. But I don't remember what I told you because I read everybody in the group. But so you can name, like if you want to name them for now, like guide 1, guide 2, guide 3, and you could say this one's male, this one's female. And then when you're working with the guide, you tell them, okay, I'm sitting down with guide 1, he's the male. Okay, let me feel you, or whatever way you're being intuitive, right? Let me feel you, let me hear you, let me see you. And then you can take notes and write down what the impressions are that you get about that guide, right? So you can ask them, you know, show me what you feel like, if you're more of a feeler than a seer, right? And so the second thing I'm really big on is keeping a vibe notebook. That's what I call it. I don't have mine actually here, but I'll just hold the notebook. So just grab a notebook, and it's going to be your vibe. That's my slang for intuition. It's going to be your vibe notebook. And it's one of the best ways to practice intuition is to start writing down your impressions. And I know many people teach this. Write down your impressions and write down what you get. If you have specific answers you're trying to get on things, ask the questions, see what information comes to you intuitively, and then write that down. I kept a notebook for, it was at least a year, maybe more into 2 years. And I keep it at work. I started taking it home too, but I was doing a lot of my vibing at work. So I would jot stuff down, and usually it involved other people or things happening in my life. And at the end of the notebook, I decided, well, this would be kind of a kick. Well, actually, let me back up. So as soon as I got the answer to the intuition, if I got the answer to the intuition, I would put a check. I would put a check mark by the intuition, by the vibe. And what would happen is if I didn't get it right, or I never found out the answer, I put a no. Well, I guess I didn't really count the no answers, but I would put an X for no, or that I was incorrect, right? So at the end of the notebook, I thought, well, this will be fun to go through and see what I am, like see how good is my intuition. And this was about 10 years ago. So I went through and I was like 49-51 or something like that. It was really, really close. And instead of thinking I was wrong half the time, I was excited because I was right half the time. So that was kind of a turning point for me of understanding and realizing how powerful that is, and how I still keep an intuition notebook to this day. I'm not very active in it because not a lot is happening like it was back then that I wanted intuition on, but it's still really interesting to be able to go back through and see how right you are. And it's part also, the other piece of doing this intuition notebook is for the confidence building, right? It's to have you have something tangible that you can flip through, and you can go back through and look and say, I was right, I was right, I was right. Oh, wow, I remember that one. I was right. Nope, got that one wrong. Now, this is a good segue into when things are wrong. So one thing that happens is a little thing we like to call timing. It's our favorite. And so timing plays a part in intuition, right? So there's universal timing and there's our timing. And a lot of things don't happen when we think they should, at least for me, probably for you too. So the thing about intuition is it can change. It's not necessarily that you're wrong about what you got, but the situation and circumstances around that intuitive hit have changed. Why? because you've got people involved a lot of times in these intuitive hits. And I could change my mind. I could shift gears just slightly, but just enough to make something change. The person that I'm asking about could shift or change their mind or do a complete 180 or go a different direction, or in their sphere of influence, they've met someone else that it goes to as well, right? So it will shift. That really happens a lot when you're working with other people. Now, I will do intuitive timing answers for people, but I always have to have a little disclaimer, right? That this could shift. Maybe you decide you don't want a new boyfriend or, relationship or something, but I've told you 3 months or 3 years, and it shifts because you shifted. Or the person that I saw you with in 3 months shifted, right? Does everybody understand how that works a little bit? Okay, does anybody have any questions on what we've talked about so far? Is everybody kind of getting the gist? So on that note, I'll wait for questions to come in. Oh, good. I'm glad you like the idea of that. I love the Vibe Notebook, and it's just like I make it a game, make it fun, make it a fun little game. And, just even, you could even write down, so I'm going to segue now into like what you can use your intuition for. So you could use it for, is so-and-so going to call me? Let me tune in and see what I get on that. Okay, I'm getting a no, or I'm getting a yes. If you're quick, if you can do it, I know now we've got like caller ID, but if you wanted to, oh, I just heard a notification on my phone come in, it's a text, let me tune in and see who that's from. Like, you can play with your daily activities to find out what's going on. And it's just kind of a fun, now that's only valid if you don't have a specific notification sound on somebody's text, okay? No cheating. But you know what I mean? Like, it's just a fun way. Somebody, rings the doorbell. Who is it? UPS, the postman, the next door neighbor, random somebody. Okay, Cindy's saying, it makes perfect sense. What is difficult is when the person being read then thinks you do not know what you are doing and will make false claims that you are fake. Well, are you talking about that one situation you had with that woman? Because I haven't experienced that as much. So that might be something we talk offline a little bit about more, because the bottom line really for that is you've got to trust your intuition. And that's a little bit of an extreme example, I believe, when the person is thinking you're fake, because there's a difference between not resonating with something and then it's almost very defensive and extreme and lashing out to call someone a fake. So to me, that would signify that they really didn't like what they heard. It's not really about you being a fake or not. It's all about them, right? Hey, Pamela, welcome. We are knee deep in talking about intuition. We're not really going over all the different types. I'm more just speaking about it generally, how to focus in a little bit. We just talked about creating a vibe notebook. I'll show you my role next time, you guys. It's a little cheesy one, but so in this vibe notebook, just to recap, it's a great way to kind of play a game with your intuition, and you write down what your intuitive hits are. And these can be intuitive hits that come in naturally, or they could be ones where you actually sit down and say, is so-and-so going to call me today? Or, when will I hear from my mom, or whatever. It can be, so the thing about intuition is you can ask questions on anything that you want answers to. You can go to your intuition and you can ask about it. And so I want to talk a little bit more about what you might use intuition for. Well, anything. Okay, I just said that. But like in your daily life, when I moved to Belize, I suddenly was in very expansive energy, and my old world of stress like detoxed away, and I was left with, it was like this, it was kind of like, oh, like wide open, expansive. I was really able to tune in and expand this part of my gifts, right? Because I wasn't bogged down with population and traffic and concrete buildings and people everywhere. So I had a completely open, energetic vessel for getting information. So my intuition just skyrocketed and my empathy was off the charts. So I would sit there and say, what should I wear today? Right? I mean, boring, but what should I wear, this or that? What should I order on the menu? What should I drink? Where should I go? These were just ways to kind of take my head out of it and figure out like what is in my highest and best good. That's what I'm using intuition for. So, okay, Susan, in an intuitive reading, I was asking about what was happening with an animal. I just started crying. I assumed sadness. Any suggestion to get why the animal was sad? So that's your clairsentience coming in, right? Your clear feeling. And it could be some empathy too. I don't know if the animal was, I'm assuming the animal was still alive. I don't know why I'm assuming that. It doesn't actually matter either way. So one thing you could do is you could ask, I'm feeling that you're sad. Why are you sad? And see if they answer. So part of the trick too about doing readings and using intuition is, what I have found is to ask another question, right? I was in a reading healing the other day, and we were going through these questions the person had, and I was getting these answers, and then I thought, well, I probably should ask it a different way, like to get more, because I was kind of surprised at the answers too. So I started asking the questions a different way, and it opened up more information. So you could say, I'm feeling that you're sad. Are you sad? Like, can you confirm that you're sad? Why are you sad? Then you could go through a list. Are you sad because of your owner? Are you sad because of your situation? Is it about your food? Is it that you want more exercise? And, you know, I'm just kind of brainstorming right now on the spot what an animal could be sad about, right? And it could be something completely not that I didn't mention, completely different. But okay, good. I'm glad that makes sense, Susan. Yeah, because it's just kind of a matter of, it's almost like a maze where you pick a route, and then if you're kind of hitting a brick wall, you turn, you know, change gears and go a different way by asking a different question. And also what the questions can do is drill down to a deeper level, right? So you're getting more and more information to create this bigger, better picture, more clear picture of what you're wanting to find out. Okay, Cindy's saying it does make perfect sense that we read in the moment and energy can shift. So what we say today may not come to pass, depending on all the players in the circumstance, etc. And so therefore we are really not wrong at all. Exactly. I believe that we are wrong in the, excuse me, edit. We are right in the moment. Like for me, I'm right in the moment. If you're new and still learning, you may not always be right. That's just going to happen as you build your skills, right? So it's great to have that insight though, and have that trust in yourself and that confidence. It all kind of goes together, right? I keep saying right. Okay, so I want to finish my list really quick about what all you can use the intuition for. So I mentioned the daily life, something as simple as what you want to wear that day, or where you want to go, what you want to do. And I was a little extreme with this, and it wasn't really necessary, but it was still kind of fun. And really, I didn't have anything else that I was working on or needed answers on. So if that makes sense, like when it really comes down to the wire, like intuition, should I take this job or this job? I have two offers. You know, you can use it for that. Should I date this person? You can use it for love relationship. You can use it for selling your house. Which house should I buy? This one or this one, or this one or this one, depending how many you have as a choice, right? You can use your intuition for anything. And the thing is, you don't have to do what your intuition says, right? I choose to personally. Sure, there's some little things that ultimately it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I wear what I wear today, ultimately. So there are certain things that aren't life altering. I'll put it that way. There are other things that you will want to trust your intuition on and, follow it. And there could be consequences or a life shift, a path shift if you don't follow it. So I kind of touched on this, I guess, but problems or solutions. You can use your intuition to figure out problems and solutions. And that kind of goes back to some examples I gave about dating or moving or selling or whatnot. It could be used for specific, grievances or upsets with people. Should I email that person? Or should I call them? Should I talk to them? Which one is the better route? Let's see what the answer is. So another part of intuition is what I call flybys or random vibes, random information, where you are completely minding your own business and you literally get something that flies in, and it's a piece of information, it's a picture of something, it's something that you're like, why did I get that? What's so random? And I'll use this example. So, it was in early 09, I got this random flyby, and it was that something was wrong with my dad's health. And I was like, whoa, what's this? And so I ran it by my mentor, and she's like, yeah, I get that too. And so we were getting like a timeline of when he was going to die and all this stuff. And I was like, holy cow. And that was so it happened 3 times, which everything happens in threes. So I was kind of like, oh my goodness. So I, call my dad, and he's great. He's in good health and nothing wrong and not sick. And I just thought, this is weird. So, it's 8 years later, and he's still alive. So I don't know, I haven't actually really totally investigated, but because I've gotten it a few other times. So again, this goes back to the example of this intuition is about someone else. We have free will and free choice. So he maybe was subconsciously, energetically thinking about death or not feeling great and feeling like maybe it'd be easier to be gone from this life, or I don't know, like we're not that close. So I wasn't talking to him about any of this, of course, besides checking in on how he was doing. But the point is that he has free will and free choice, right? So he can decide deep within himself on a subconscious or energetic level if he's going to stick around in this life or not. So it shifted. We were getting like 3 months. And so 3 months came and went, and we're like, do you still get that he's going to die? Yep. We're all just getting that he was going to die. So he never died. He hasn't died. He's still alive. Great. And it's just a matter of him choosing, right? So that's one example of, I still don't know why I got that information. And it's just an example of how things change, right? Now, I don't know that I would have wanted the intuition at that time. And then if he had died, do you know what I mean? Because then I would be like, crimes, I was really right. Like, now am I going to get premonitions when people die? I don't really want to. So just interesting. Does anybody have any questions on that, or comments or insights? Yeah. Cindy's saying, I think sometimes we get that kind of information, and if we are clairvoyant, we may not know how long it is going to be. Do you think that is possible in relationship to your dad? Absolutely. even though the intuition we were getting was still saying, like it was giving us a timeline initially of 3 months, and then 3 months came and went, but we were still getting the intuition. So here's my new feeling on it. I feel like that energy is still around him, that wanting to die energy, or the giving up energy. I don't even know what I would call it because I haven't fully investigated it, because I'm kind of keeping myself at a distance from it, right? But I feel like it's potentially still there, because if I ask right now and say, is he going to die? I get a yeah. Well, okay, I shouldn't say that's totally open-ended, but like, I still get that feeling. I still get that intuition that he's ready to go. Maybe that's the better question. See, look, I've just gone through the maze. So the better question is, does he want to live anymore? And I get a no for that. So energetically, is he thinking about dying? Not consciously, energetically. And I'm getting a slow yes. So I do agree. I do think that the energy is there behind it for him, but I don't feel like he's necessarily made a decision or he's acting on it. So that's kind of an extreme example, right? We're talking about life and death, but you get kind of the point, right, of how it works, of how I could be getting this intuition and it's not correct in this moment necessarily, but the energy of it is that the person I'm dealing with has free will and free choice. So August says, I work with the elderly and often patients at the end of their life. I do feel when they are closed, but timely not always. Yeah, so you can probably pick up, especially if that's your work, you've seen a lot of it, so you can definitely, probably you're combining the physical symptoms or manifestations along with your intuition, right? When you're getting that feeling that you can start telling when someone's giving up, right, Aga? Susan, how do you get your yes and no? I use a pendulum, not as quick as I would like. Sometimes if I don't have it with me, I will see it in my third eye. Cool. Not always. Guess just part of how I get the information. Just keep using it and see what happens where it goes. Yes, yes, yes. So we're going to do more live discussions on the specifics of the certain types of intuition. So I don't personally use a pendulum, but the same thing is muscle testing. I do a lot of kinesiology or muscle testing. And I was introduced to that in 1996 with my chiropractor. He was having you hold your arm out, and then he would press on it, put his other hand on the other shoulder and press, and it would be, a yes is strong and a no, your arm goes down. You can also do muscle testing by interlocking and doing a little ring with your fingers. And that's how I started, was a yes, a no and a yes. Working away. Well, you could say show me a no. Yeah, show me a yes. So yes is usually breaking through. So actually, on the down, a yes might be when the arm goes down. It's been a long time since I've done that. So another way you can do it is with your body. Use your body as a pendulum. That's actually what I did just then, so I'll do muscle testing like this. So if I hit hard air, that's a no. If my hand goes through, it's a yes. That's something I learned in Matrix Energetics. Kind of cool. But I can also use my body as a pendulum. So if I'm sitting, so you could do it sitting or standing, and you can say to your body, show me a no. And a no is back and forth, side to side. And a yes is forwards or backwards. Usually I go forwards or I go to the left. So it's really cool to use that, because if I don't get the answer intuitively, because I'll get the answer intuitively, but if I'm kind of not necessarily hearing or knowing the answer, I'll do the muscle testing and boom, it's right there. And it's so, I practiced it so much that I'm not even connected to my head with it. So I know that it's like yes or no. And I also count timeline stuff with my hand, but I'm kinetic. So I feel things with my hands. Okay, so I'm about to wrap up, you guys. Let's see. Cindy, for example, so back to Susan really quick. So yeah, do your pendulum. do your pendulum, and if that's what works for you, then perfect. If you want to try muscle testing, that is perfect too. And you can always practice muscle testing with somebody that knows the answer to the question, right? Like, and you probably started that way with you did pendulum. I was never really big on pendulum, and I don't know if that was because my energy was too scattered, so it went all over the place. But I like to like hone in. Like I really like to do the muscle testing. Okay, Cindy, for example, when I was younger, I always knew my mother was going to die young. I just did not know when, and she did die young, or at least in my definition of what young is exactly. So you're already getting that feeling or that premonition and that knowing, that inner knowing, right? So you can trust that intuition that you got. I'm not trusting mine. I mean, I'm trusting mine that I'm getting about my dad, but I'm not really putting anything into it because it's not happening. Okay, good. Hey, Angela. What was Psych K? If you have time to answer. If not, okay, so I've gone through everything I wanted to share today. So in upcoming lives, we'll be talking more specifically about each kind of all the clairs, all of the different ways you're intuitive. And we will also be doing some fun intuitive games to help you practice your intuition. And there is a really good book that I highly recommend called You Are Psychic by Pete Sanders Jr. I had a really good read. He's the one who taught me about the human pendulum-ish type thing. And he's down in Sedona, Arizona, and does some really great work. And I really enjoyed my reading with him. So he's the one actually who did a reading on me and told me the ways that I was intuitive. He has a little chart that he uses and what percentage you're intuitive that way. So it's like I was like 85% on all the different senses, which was cool. And that was about 2010. So, okay. Going back to comments real quick. Susan, I didn't used to be able to use it. Now it seems spot on, but a little inconvenient, right? Susan, so instead of doing the pendulum, start doing the chain intuition or the muscle testing. Just the same way. So you're going to start with questions that you know the answer to already. Is my name Susan? And I'm getting a no, right? Because my name is not Susan. Is my name Jill? Yes. So or you could say, show me a yes, show me a no. And you're going to feel it. You're going to feel the resistance. And even though you would think that you would just be able to pull through, like I'm really trying right now to pull through and I'm not, I can't do it. So try it with, because that's something kind of easy. You could kind of put your hands down in your lap and like do your little pulling, right? So practice with what, with questions that you know the answers to. And you'll get the feeling of how it works. And then you could practice with other people for questions they know the answers to, but you don't necessarily know the answers to. Or you could even you could practice it with anything that you knew the answer to, right? I don't know. I've never called it that, Angela. I've never called it Psych K, the muscle testing, but that makes sense. I've just called it kinesiology or muscle testing. Yay! Okay, gang. Well, thank you so much for joining. And if you're listening to the replay, let me know if you have any questions in the comments. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.